Okay, so good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the next of our PA Forum Aspire series. As part of Aspire Week this week, we've had a number of sessions in place to encourage and inspire and aspire the next generation of assistants. That's by no means to say that our more experienced members can't join. It just means that we want to be able to do a number of different topics that will be appealing to different people, regardless of wherever they are in their career. So today, and to continue our work as part of the PA Forum CSR Supporters group, we welcome back the wonderful Sarah James, who is People and Operations Manager of Savient Limited. Sarah has put herself forward to be able to work with the forum, to be able to talk about CSR and what we can do as a community to give back and inspire others to hopefully implement strategies and procedures within their own businesses as well. So Sarah, it's wonderful to welcome you back today. Our session is going to be CSR, where do I start? As in like lifting up the shoulders. So it's it's great to welcome you back. Thank you so much for joining us and thanks for your time in advance.
No, thank you ever so much. And I think it's great to kind of be able to come back and invited back. The CSR supporters group, like Dan was just saying, was just like really successful last year to be able to share all those initiatives and those ideas. As Dan was just saying, it's like I'm having lots of questions about what do I do? Where do I start? So I've kind of put this little slide pack together that hopefully I'll be able to share with you all now in the minute and be able to kind of give you some hints and tips and some useful resources to be able to help you on your journey for to CSR. So I'm just going to share my screen with you all. Let's make sure I do this right. All right, can everybody see that?
All good, Sarah, thank you.
Perfect. Right then. So firstly, welcome to our first CSR supporters session for 2023. Firstly, I'd like to just introduce myself for those who don't already know me and for the new people that are on the calls and things today. So my name is Sarah James and I'm the People and Operations Manager for Savient Limited. It's scary to kind of think that I actually have over 23 years of experience in office management and business support roles. So I'm in the same boat as you guys. So it's very much something that has now become part of my role with CSR. And to just kind of like give you a bit of a history to that. 5 years ago, I took on kind of my first official PA and office management role for Agility Group. And that really provided me with the opportunity to dedicate to the role and understand what my strengths and qualities were to kind of help me to shape my next career move. And it's quite clear, and you'll see from kind of my LinkedIn posts and everything that I kind of do to support the PA Forum and the community. It's very much kind of focused around CSR. So 2 years ago, I joined Savient Limited, and we are an IT and consultancy based company in Cheltenham. The team has really grown rapidly, and I've helped to kind of build on the foundations of that growth and to also get the opportunity to work alongside my husband, who's also actually the innovations director. A few people kind of say, how's that working with your husband? But actually we are working on completely different things and different projects. So it's actually works out really well for us. So that kind of my role as people and operations manager, it's my role to kind of drive that people initiatives to kind of champion culture and develop that kind of operational and admin support for the rest of the team. And it makes me laugh when I kind of read out that little description. It's like actually helped to define my role and my job description. So I can't kind of go back on it really. So I was honoured to have won Office Manager of the Year award last year at the Office Management Awards in London. And when I'm not off on awards nights or working or at a networking event, I'm mum to 4 children and to our 2 cats, Faisley and Ollie Mers, who actually were adopted from a rescue centre after a volunteering day. So what brings me here today? Well, back in November 2021, I was honoured to have won Ambassador for Change PA Forum Award. This was amazing for me because at the time CSR wasn't necessarily part of the day job, and it was that chance and opportunity for me to be able to showcase everything that I was able to do, to lead on those initiatives and to encourage others in the company, to give back to the community, volunteer, and to raise awareness. And one of the questions that was asked of me during the awards interview was, what would you do if you won? Well, other than being as proud as punch, which I really was, I also wanted that opportunity to help others, to build that awareness for CSR, and to really help you, who were all in similar roles, to make that impact. So here we are today, and thanks for Dan for giving me the opportunity to share with you all. So let's start at the beginning. It's that kind of, what is CSR? We hear about it, but what does it actually stand for? So CSR is corporate social responsibility. It's that kind of idea from a business point of view, to see what the positive impacts does a business have or could consider for the environment, their social impacts, and how that can link to business decisions. So it's quite a broad kind of scope of ideas and information. And so it's really important to try and look at all the different areas of that and how it impacts on your business. There's also a lot of kind of links to ESG, which is kind of another buzzword that we're hearing often. And that kind of CSR and ESG is kind of thrown into the same conversations, but they are different. So ESG, for those that aren't familiar, is environmental, social and governance. And when we kind of talk about CSR, you do see that kind of crossover with ESG. But I think the biggest difference to kind of mention around ESG is that non-financial factors. But for today, we're going to focus on CSR. So in recent years, we've seen kind of CSR as kind of community investment, charity days, whereas now we're actually seeing CSR as an expectation on businesses. So there's lots of questions from new employees, from current staff members, from your stakeholders, from your customers, because they want to know what you're doing. And you've also got to be able to effectively communicate with them as to what you are actually doing around CSR. We're also starting to see actual job posts for CSR roles and leads within businesses. So I think that's really quite interesting. Probably 3-4 years ago, you saw the odd kind of CSR roles, but now you're seeing more of them being kind of promoted. And I think that just kind of shows that businesses are listening, they're starting to take action and seeing the importance of having these dedicated roles within business. So I think for the majority of us that are on this call, we see kind of CSR, or it might just be another line on our ever-growing job description or our job list. But actually, it's that kind of collective action. It's for everyone in the business to get involved and for everyone to kind of support. So what do I actually mean by that? So we'll go into a little bit more detail now. So I keep getting these kind of questions of, where do I begin with CSR? I'm having more and more conversations with people that are in similar roles, might be office managers, might be PAs, executive supports, that want to get involved with CSR, but don't really know how to start those conversations or who they need to speak to and get involved with. So I get lots of people looking at my LinkedIn posts and all the information that I'm putting on for Savient Limited and kind of saying, you know, you're always doing CSR. How do you do it all and where do you start? So hopefully I can help more, and that's what we're going to go through on this session. I also think it's quite a buzzword at the moment. More and more businesses are thinking about it, so more of us actually need to act on CSR as well. So what do I actually mean by that? So last year, as we kind of touched on, we had the 4 sessions that looked at the 4 pillars of CSR, and we explored them more about the possibilities and the options. And on reflection, these were great sessions to kind of raise the awareness, share our ideas, our solutions and our activities. And through those sessions, we looked at community, economics, social impacts, as well as philanthropic. And these sessions, they're all available for you to download from the portal afterwards. So you'll be able to have a look and see some of the bits that we covered as part of those. But also people having conversations with their managers of like, you know, where do I start with this? We need to be doing more CSR, and what's next? So let's kind of delve into CSR policies. So I don't want everyone to start kind of panicking if they haven't got a CSR policy or not quite sure what their CSR policy might be. This is something that kind of evolves, and something that you would have within your business, like with any kind of policies and procedures that you put into place. So I have a CSR policy that I've compiled and put together and got that agreement and that buy-in from the directors as to what we're looking to achieve. So as I said, before you frantically start looking for your CSR policy or looking in your handbook, don't worry if you've not got that, because I'm hoping these stages now that we'll look at in a bit more detail will give you that opportunity of how you go about putting together a CSR policy. So I think the number one point to mention is like what actually makes you unique as a business. You know, what are your core values? We want to actually implement a CSR policy because it might align to our core values and what we do as a business. So it could be that you've got values around teamwork, it could be around trust and being valued, and that we're businesses that care. So kind of go back to what the actual core values are of your business and have a look to see how you can make that kind of initial opening statement for your CSR policy. So number two, do you have any standards that you are either working towards or you're looking to implement? So you might have some health and safety standards, you might have some ISO standards around kind of the environmental standard, you might have a CSR accreditation, or what makes you different or puts you on that journey that you're starting to consider and look at these accreditations, and what makes you stand out from the crowd. So just have a look and see what some of those things that you might be doing. So number three, it's kind of like with everything that you kind of put like policies and procedures and things together, who's it actually aimed for and who's it for? So you'll have a number of stakeholders or people that want to get involved in your CSR strategy that you might be doing. So that kind of CSR policy it encompasses everybody in the business. So it's impacting all your employees, it's impacting your stakeholders, your suppliers, and also your customers. So it's who are you working with and what are those target audiences. So number four is like what you're actually looking to achieve. It's all well and good having a kind of CSR policy, but then what's your actual outcomes of those? It might be that you want to support a particular charity. It might be that you want everybody in the company to use their volunteering days. It might be that you want to do a number of charity or outreach events. You might be looking to consider more of an environmental impact and how you could actually improve on that. So having a look to see what you're involved in already and looking at what you might want to achieve, you can have a look and start to actually put these down on paper. Because I think then when you start to actually put down what you're trying to achieve, it all starts to make sense and everyone can see that end goal that you're all trying to achieve together. So number five is that kind of accountability around how you're going to measure it. Are you going to do reviews? Are you going to do a feedback? And who's going to be responsible for that? For some larger organisations, there might be a committee or a team of people that are your volunteers that would be supporting CSR, or you might have a dedicated person that's responsible for CSR in your business. So at the end of the year, or when you want to look to review it, do a summary of what you've been able to achieve, reflecting it back to your CSR policy, and remember to kind of shout about it as well and all your achievements. So then we move on to number 6, which is that kind of continuous improvement. So you've done your review on the year, you've done that kind of update, and it's that kind of like, right, how can we amend that and go again? It's all about that continuous improvement. You're starting to build that case study, you've got your evidence, you've got your information, you've got all your photos that you'll have around CSR activities. So you're starting to build that kind of history and that portfolio of your CSR. So it's about what can you then do for the following activities and years that follow. And then that kind of number 7 finally is that kind of awareness piece. So I say this all the time, your brand and your kind of awareness is really powerful. You know, you've got social media, you've got LinkedIn, you've got newsletters, and be proud to share your successes. And what everyone gets to see from your LinkedIn is those kind of talking points as well. You know, we've seen that you've been doing this activity and you've been doing other activities, and people want to know more and how they can get involved with future events. Also talk to your marketing team if you've got marketing teams to be able to support you, and how best to promote and share all your fantastic work that you've been doing. And there you're starting to build and consider what needs to go into your CSR policy. So I just wanted to share some of the companies out there. They're amongst many companies that are doing kind of a great job, but I think as kind of that starting point as well, you're starting to pull together your own CSR strategy and your policy. I think it's really good to then have a look to see what other companies are actually doing. So Halfords, they're actively promoting and sharing their CSR plans, their activities, their community engagement, bike repair days, recycling, there's members discounts, and all their offsetting that they're doing. So it's worth having a look to see what they're promoting and doing as well, which is all on their website. Coca-Cola, until I started to have a look, I didn't realize that they got a new slogan, which is a world without waste. So that's kind of aimed at a collective group of collecting and recycling every bottle, that they're using 100% recyclable packaging, and that every bottle is 100% plant-based plastic, and that's been since 2021, which I didn't know about. And I was in local Costa at the weekend and noticed that they were offering rewards and recycling of any disposable cups. So I think it's worth bearing in mind things like that, or actions and things that you could promote. So if you've got that vending machine or coffee machine in the office and you've got lots of disposable cups, if they're not being recycled, is there a way that you could look in different schemes? And I think that's where this kind of group can come in to be able to share some of those ideas as well. So Ford, as we know, they're a car manufacturer, and a big push on electrifying vehicles by 2050, and for them to be as a business carbon neutral. So they're kind of their chief sustainability, environmental and safety officer is really driving forward those changes, and there's some really interesting articles and information on their website to take a look at. Netflix, they're actually, they've enhanced their paternity leave pay, so focusing on supporting employees, supporting movements of pride, Black Lives Matter, and targeting market to promote those movements and their brand awareness. So that's kind of as a very general kind of CSR involvement there. There was lots from kind of Pfizer supporting refugees and crisis in Europe and Middle East, and some interesting articles and schemes that they've been able to get involved in, as well as Google actually putting over 1 billion amount of revenue into renewable energy projects, and offering services like Gmails to business that helps to reduce environmental impact. So I know they're all amazingly large companies, but it just gives you some good examples of where to start really. And if you are anything like me, you're secretly interested to kind of find out what they have been working on, and having a look at their website or LinkedIn pages to find out more. So I wanted to just kind of share what we do at Savient, and it'd be great to kind of hear your ideas and your solutions and things that you do and things as well. At Savient, it's that kind of knowledge is really powerful, and it's about keeping everybody updated and informed. Is a kind of a bit of a must really. So we've very much got our SharePoint pages that we use on our intranet, and it's that very much that focal point that we use for internal comms. We have newsletters monthly using our website and social media. So I think it's just considering what your comms that works best for you and for your business, and how you can share that information like you do with your other updates. How can you incorporate sharing CSR into some of those elements as well? So as you can see with our SharePoint pages, it's split into the different areas. So covering kind of the CSR and the carbon footprint element and ESG, and the environmental benefits and well-being. And we've just started to use kind of the events function to add what's coming up, so people can always find out what's happening, the latest kind of events. And I think we're really proud of the achievements that we've achieved at Savient. As well as a CSR accredited business. Last year we were announced as a CSR world leader, and there's me, that picture in the middle of collecting the award from the House of Parliament, which was just a really wonderful experience, and to get to meet lots of other businesses as well. We're also a excellence in CSR that was awarded to us last year, and I only heard last week that we'd also won a Green World Award. It's actually going to be in Miami, the final for that in April. So I'm not going to be able to go to that awards night, but it's a bit of a wow moment really, because it really is amazing that we've been able to achieve all of this in the last couple of years. So I think it's about thinking about what you have, what information you have, how's that shared at the moment, how could you better communicate and share that with your team. And it's about promoting everything that you're doing and looking about what the best methods of communication are. You know your business best, and you can work and see what's will be best for you to be able to share those updates. So we've kind of covered today as part of this session what is CSR and about CSR policies and those strategies. You can also review and look and see what others are doing from some of the websites and companies that I've suggested to go and have a look and see what they're sharing. And it's also to do about promoting the opportunities that you're doing for your business and what will work well for you. So I think it's about that. It's hopefully this slide will kind of help you to think about where to start now. So you've kind of put that kind of policy together, you're looking about what you want to achieve and what that strategy might be. But it's also, I kind of call it a bit of a mini internal audit, and it's having to look to see what you're actually doing for CSR. And I know all of you will be doing something that's CSR related, but it might just be that you've not actually realized it until you've taken that time to reflect on it. And I think this is a really good way to start from doing this kind of mini audit, to be able to see what your starting points are. So at the CSR Supporters sessions last year, it was also great for sharing our activities and ideas. So it really is a great forum to be able to continue and help each other out. So there's no point reinventing the wheel. If someone has a contact or idea that might help you, it's about how we can support each other as well. So this kind of mini audit will help you to see your kind of gap analysis and what you could consider planning for future events or activities or schemes that you might want to implement into the workplace to help everybody. So how I'd approach it is very much looking at the 4 areas, and you will find that things are crossing over for some of them. So a good example that I can give you for that is our Keep Active Week. So next week is our Keep Active Week at Savient. And as part of that, we're encouraging people to take time away from their laptops, to spend time outside, exercising, walking, running, cycling. And as a group, we'll all be motivating each other to hopefully achieve a lot of miles altogether. But as well as doing that, there's kind of that environmental impact, because people are going to be walking and exercising, so might not actually be using the car to commute to work. So there's that environmental impact. It's also benefiting the overall workplace and the well-being. As part of our Keep Active week, we are supporting a charity. So you've also got that kind of community and fundraising. So it's having a look to see what your idea is. It's not necessarily that they'd fit just in one particular area of CSR. And there's lots that you're already doing. So it's about continuing to have a look and see what else you might be able to implement as well. So break down those activities, review what you've done in 2022, and see what's might be already in the calendars that's coming up, but also to have a look to see what's planned for 2023, and start to put together your kind of information as well. So I wouldn't go that you've got to plan something every single week. I think that can become too much, and you don't get that buy-in and support from others. So planning 2 or 3 activities or major events and things is really good, because that gets kind of the buy-in and support for those activities, and it starts to then help to form that CSR strategy for you for 2023. And I just wanted to share our CSR activities with you all. And when you start to look at what we've actually achieved over the year, it's really quite astonishing, really, and things that we've continued to support. And this kind of slide, this gets used in business updates. So when we're updating the team, in new business opportunities for presentations, and account management review meetings and things as well. Because for us, it's important as a business that we want to promote everything, and at every opportunity to be able to share what we are doing from a CSR point of view. So you're probably thinking, what's next? So I think have a look if you've got that opportunity to do an internal audit, that mini CSR internal audit. That will start to establish where your gaps are, or things that you might need to consider, or areas that you need to try and find something to support the workplace. And the CSR supporters groups here, myself and Dan, to try and help you, and to give you some suggestions and ideas as well. Have a look and see what other people are doing. You'll see lots of activities around charity events, from litter picks, sponsored walks, charities. There might be new wellbeing services, cake sales. The list is endless, and we're seeing very much now there's lots of charities and support and things that we can get involved in. Have a look and see what you've done before and what you want to continue to do. Some people might have chosen charities. You might have a particular cause or concern that you want to support, or you might be really focusing on kind of environmental impact from your carbon neutral reports and your carbon footprints, and having to look to see what you could do and see what everyone actually enjoys and wants to do. Because what's really key to this is actually getting that feedback and trying to help everyone. So we had our employee satisfaction survey, and you get lots of information and support from that as well. So I'm now looking at different services around kind of wellbeing and mental health apps for the team. And with the Keep Active Week, again, for everyone taking part, we're gifting everyone a tree. So they don't know about that. So hopefully they'll listen to the recording next week. But I know it's not always easy to do it if you haven't got a budget or you haven't got that support. But there's lots that you can do without actually needing some kind of financial input, from recycling, from wellbeing, and just promoting some of the services and things that you already offer to your team. I'm currently doing our carbon footprint report and kind of the supporting white paper. And I had some help from the Gloucestershire Growth Hub that provided me with some workshops and training sessions that were free of charge, that helped me to do that. So there could be opportunities for yourself, if that's something that you're responsible for, to be able to get that support as well. And who are your volunteers? You need them on your side. So talk to them, get them involved in the plans. It might be that now you want to go and get involved in the CSR activities, and that's fantastic. And share the events, get that buy-in. How are you going to go about promoting? And again, as I've mentioned, talking to your marketing team about how you're going to go about promoting and planning, like you would for any event or any ideas that you're looking to promote as a business or service that you offer. And when that's all done, it's that kind of reflection on what a fantastic achievement that you've done. You've got your CSR strategy, you are all becoming CSR champions, and then you can kind of promote that and your successes as well. So that's everything that I've got to cover on these slides, and be happy to kind of take any questions or any comments from you.
Thanks, Sarah. I'm just going to stop the recording now, just so we've got that. But thanks so much for that, Sarah. Really, really appreciated. Thank you.